All right, good morning. So, boo, Cameron, we're live already.
Even if it was just like a 10-second something, I feel like there has to be, like literally, it could just be a gag, but it just feels so awkward to just be like, oh, we're live, lol.
It's, and that's something I'm working on. Basically the problem right now, brother, is our existing intro bit is just too big a video. It's too high quality. It's too good for Rumble.
And it's literally just pieces of things cribbed together from other high quality videos. See, that's
exactly. The first time I ran into that was the first time I shot a commercial for somebody who was actually going on television. Never occurred to me until I ran into it, because I'm not a media buyer. I'm a film producer. So I made this commercial for a friend of ours that owns a couple of businesses. Cut her an outrageously good deal. Did a great product for her, and delivered the video, delivered the product. And then like a week later, she comes back and says, hey, they're saying they can't use it. Here's the phone number for my media buyer. Let him tell you what the problem is. The problem was that the video was in 4K, and for them to put it on CNN and ESPN,
whatever,
and all
keep
that,
going.
Yeah, to put it on all the cable news networks, it had to be in no more than 720p. So I had to take it and downgrade it and re-render it so that it would work for them. Yeah, I run into that problem. I run into that problem more than I ever thought I would. That my work is just too good. Steve says 5x3. So am I too quiet? Do I need to turn up the audio, or is it crackly? I'll wait for Uncle Steve to get back with that, and let me do this. Hey, it's day after Thanksgiving. How was it, brother?
I think I'm going to be full till sometime on Sunday.
We brought some leftovers home from Mom and Dad's house, but I believe we're going back over to the farm tomorrow, and Cade and Anna are going to be by because they're going to the game tonight, and I'm sure I'll be eating some kind of version of turkey leftovers tomorrow as well. But that might be turkey tetrazzini. Ma is not one to just nuke the bird and throw it on the plate. Uncle Steve says I'm low. Okay, let me adjust the position of the mic. Get a little closer and bump a little gain. That should do the trick. It might also be your shitty headphones, Steve.
Yeah. So the thing that I like to do is to save the carcass of the turkey, and any various bits of skin and whatnot.
Oh yeah, those are already boiling in a crock pot right now to make broth with.
Oh, see, I take mine a step further, turn it into turkey demi-glace.
Okay.
But yeah, nice. So I mean, same idea. Same idea.
I just dropped a link to what's going to be our second article there, Cameron, over in the
wrong thread.
Oh, did I? Well, whatever. It's in a thread where you can get to it. So pull that one up and go ahead and share screen with it. But I'm going to go ahead and start our first DGU this morning. And everybody else who's in the chat, y'all go ahead and let us know. Tell us about your day yesterday. How Turkey Day go? And once we
remember Peanut.
Yeah, remember Peanut. Indeed, St. Tommy. And then once we get through the DGUs this morning, I've got a little time to hang out. If anybody wants to pop in, pop in and just talk about the day, because I got family in the chat this morning too. But let's get this first DGU out. It says insane footage shows man display gun during road rage. Target had gun ready. This ought to be fun.
A man is being held without bond this morning. He's been accused of threatening 2 people with a gun in a road rage incident caught on camera in Port St. Lucie. Police say 63-year-old Paul Slane hit the brakes in traffic, and the truck following him had to stop abruptly. They say the victims tried to go around Slane, who followed and harassed them all the way to their gated home in a gated community. Police say Slane got out, threatened the couple with a gun while shouting obscenities, all as the woman in the passenger seat recorded on her phone. Police and the victims are uncertain of why Slane was so angry.
We haven't really been able to lock that down, what exactly set him off, but who knows? It could have been a bad day. His goldfish could have died.
Should I shoot him?
His goldfish could have died.
I want to send that cop a hat. I want to send him a hat. Okay. Personally, I wouldn't have drawn my weapon. I would not have drawn my weapon in self-defense in this situation. So I'll tell you a little story. Okay, go ahead.
He follows you? I don't know, man. You follow me and then reach inside my vehicle? You might get the long distance hole puncher.
Oh, he wouldn't have gotten to reach inside my vehicle either. So several years ago, I had just come back from Afghanistan, and I was tapped to train a bunch of Marines who were all longtime spooks. They had been desk riding, desk jockeys with headphones on for years and never been to combat. And they were being sent out to do a particular mission that involved lots of time in convoy. I and a couple of my guys who had just come back from doing classified operations that frankly involved a lot of time behind a steering wheel were tapped to train these Marines to go down range and do combat convoy operations. The U.S. Army contracted with Walt Disney to build a virtual reality combat convoy simulation system, and we were the test pilots that ran it for the first time. So I get all these Marines gathered around, and I start asking questions and getting them prepped to do the mission. And the first thing I asked is, all right, raise your hand if you are going to actually be driving one of these vehicles. Stand over here. Now raise your hand if you're going to be running the turret and manning a 249 or a 240 Bravo or a Maw Deuce on top of one of these vehicles. And they got their hands up and they came over there. And I said, all right. And I pointed at the drivers and I said, you, Corporal, tell me, what is your primary weapon system? And he started on the rant about his M4A2 gas powered, starts going down the rant. And I said, wrong, sit down, boy. And then I tagged one of the E6s there. I said, you staff sergeant, what is your primary weapon system? And he tried to give me some smart ass answer about, well, I'm an intelligence operator, so my mind is the most powerful. Sit down, shithead. No, you boys are behind the wheel of a 50-ton armored truck. That is your primary weapon system. This encounter right here, this encounter that we just witnessed here in this video, let me see if I can find the spot. There it is. There it is. He has a gun and he's walking toward me right here. That's the end of my process.
He's got somebody in the car.
I'd just run him over. I'd just run him the fuck over.
He's got somebody in the car with him. I don't know. Like, let's say my wife, girlfriend, child was in the car with me. I don't know that I would step on the gas with somebody else in the car with me.
Oh, I absolutely would. For the same reason that your first go-to was to pull out the long-range hole puncher in this situation. When you step on that gas, you say, "Get your heads down. Get down. Get your heads down." Because as soon as you lean out the window with the firearm, you're initiating additional conflict. You're giving him time to respond. He's already got the weapon.
I would lean out the window. I didn't say I would lean out the window. And look, just okay, we're kind of getting down into the weeds here. Basically, we're in agreement. Like, he followed these people. He approached them with a firearm. He's sitting in jail right now without bond, and he's lucky that that's where he is. There are many, like, this would have been a clean, justified shoot, even if it wasn't Florida. Like, don't follow me home. Don't walk up to my vehicle. Don't brandish a weapon. And I realize that that's a specific charge in some states, but I've used. So, everything about this, like, buddy, I don't know what you think you had going on, or what point you were trying to make, or how many times they cut you off in traffic, or whatever. But yeah, I hope there's a follow up to this. I really do, because I want to know what this guy thought was worth it to.
Well, and I stopped the video before they finished, so let's pop forward. I'll go to right here so we can hear the officer's great quip again.
He was so angry.
We haven't really been able to lock that down, what exactly set him off, but who knows? It could have been a bad day. His goldfish could have died.
Should I shoot him?
The video also shows the victim driving, also had the gun in his lap. At one point, he asked, "Should I shoot him?" Investigators say Slane tried to grab the woman's phone as it was recording. Slane is now being held in the St. Lucie County Jail.
Of course, there's a woman, and I'm just, full-fledged misogyny. Women, when the men are fighting, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
My man, whoop your ass. My man, whoop your ass. Bitch, sit down.
Like, seriously, maybe the men are not going to fight.
Until 12 seconds ago, I could have de-escalated this.
Yes, for real. Look, just. Oh God! Like, really,
you're proud of me. You have high expectations and a very high opinion. You think I'm the baddest mamma jamma to ever walk the boulevard, and I appreciate that. I do, but tell me when it's not, a contributing factor to the threat matrix.
Yeah, like, God. How many men have been to jail, gotten in fights, gotten teeth knocked out, fingers broken, and been outright killed that just didn't have to die because some woman just had to. Seriously, ladies, seriously. You don't understand us. You don't. Men can hit each other and drink a beer afterwards and actually enjoy each other's company. I don't know why we're like that. I don't. Okay? It has something to do with testosterone and God's plan. Okay? But that's the way that it is. However, when all that's going on, when the testosterone levels are rising, shut up. Just shut up. Boy, that whole video went a direction that I didn't think that it was going to go. And look, I know we have women that watch us in the chat. Okay, really, I love you. I love women. I love women more than anything. I love women enough to say that, frankly, if I had a vice, it would be women. Okay, look, I love women. I really do. But at the same time, shut up when the men are fighting. Just shut up.
Portraits by Krista. Krista says misogyny first thing in the morning. Yes, and you are welcome. So let me explain y'all something. Women can be catty and gossipy, talk about each other behind one another's backs. Girls that are the bestest of friends will talk. They'll just be cruel behind one another's backs, right? I wish on occasion I could publish some of the infamous thread so you guys could, and I know many of the men in this chat understand this. Men, we will be cruel to one another just straight up. Like it's part of the bonding process. And this is actually a powerful and complex thing because it's not just something we do for fun and chuckles. Right? Most men, when they try to explain it, if they try to explain that to you, wait.
Finish your story, buddy. Finish your story.
I gotta put this up so I don't lose it. So men, we do that whole, hey, do these pants make me look fat? Dude, I know 5 fat dudes and you're 4 of them, right? We're often deeply cruel to one another. And especially for those of us who have engaged in combat or worked together in high risk, high reward scenarios like, complex projects or dangerous workplaces like oil mills, or paper mills, oil refineries, shit like that. We can be very cruel to one another, and it actually serves a very important evolutionary mechanism. You are testing your friends. You are testing the people around you for the quality of their character and the sturdiness of their courage. Because guys that are just, if you break down and start crying at little insults when you're with a group of men, then you are not strong enough to be one of the important participants when everything goes wrong and you got to choke out a bad guy. You are being tested constantly, and you're constantly testing one another to make sure that you retain the merit to do what men are required to do, which is to do hard, dangerous work when it matters. And you have to be able to count on one another to do that.
Boy, we got way more mileage out of that video than
we did.
Sorry, I'm even gonna use a word here. I got triggered by hearing that chick at the end of the thing. Like, it just was like, see, you see what I did there? That was a word. Yeah. Yeah, it was too much, man. It's too much. Okay. All right, here we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna pin this one back up on the timer real quick because I think Uncle Steve saw it. I just want to make sure that I see morning Krista, morning Steve. So I assume what she means is she sees the big pictures of my uncle in his Santa getup, or is it the case, Steve, that you've told the kids to just wait in line until the show's over and you're sitting on the throne watching on your phone? Because that would also make me smile.
Anyhow, so
okay, you want to share the next one?
Here we go. Stop. Okay, fine, whatever. Here we go. Why we carry 65-year-old man randomly killed on golf course with his own clubs. Jesus. Okay.
Do me a favor real quick, Cameron. Swap that one over to reader mode. You know what I mean?
No,
the reader mode plug-in that I had you download last week, so you get the white on black.
Yeah.
Like this. Okay, that's fine. Don't overthink it then.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna roll with it, and in the future I will make sure that I do that correctly. A 65-year-old man, Brian Hilty, was killed in a random act of violence at the Sandhill Crane Golf Club in West Palm Beach on Monday. Police allege that Junior Boucher, 36, attacked Hilty using the victim's own golf clubs in a brutal, unprovoked assault. According to witnesses and police reports, Hilty was heard shouting, "He's trying to kill me," as he ran from Boucher, who was wielding a golf club. Boucher reportedly struck the victim repeatedly, chased him into a pond, and continued the attack until Hilty was motionless. Witness accounts describe Boucher striking Hilty multiple times in the head before removing his clothes and attempting to flee. Officers arriving on the scene found the victim in the pond with significant head injuries and other lacerations. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities have noted that there is no apparent connection between the suspect and victim. This appears to be a random act of violence. The investigation is ongoing with a motive yet to be determined. Boucher was reported missing by his family an hour before the attack, has a lengthy criminal history that includes drug-related charges and domestic battery. Well,
That includes
okay.
drug-related charges. What do you know?
Yeah,
Damn.
what? That's yeah, shocking. Okay, so there's actually a lot there. But there were witnesses. There were people that heard him say, "Help, he's trying to kill me."
Right. So we can say Hilton Beetle should have been armed. He should have been carrying a firearm because he's a grown-ass man in America, and you have a personal responsibility to take responsibility for your own safety and security. But at the same time, where the hell was everybody else? Right? We live in a culture now where you see a man being murdered, beaten to death, and the most common reaction is to pull out your phone and film it. Hold up. Wait a minute. Y'all could have done something useful and you chose not to.
Yeah, and now granted, I wasn't there, but that is something that kind of stuck out to me. That and apparently chased him at some distance long enough for him to go into a pond to try and get away from him. Like, what? And then, yeah, that's awful. You're not gonna bump into a methed out psychopath every day. That doesn't. At least I hope not. If you are, you need to reevaluate your life choices. Well, but still, like everything about like, there is no place where you are safe. Control actually is an illusion. The best any of us can do is plan and mitigate and maintain situational awareness. And I'm not trying to be dark. I'm not saying you need to live your life in fear and checking under the bed for monsters every night. But really, just getting in your car and running over to the gas station to get a Coca-Cola can be the last thing that you ever do. A deer can jump out in front of you. A drunk driver can hit you. Somebody can be at the gas station armed with the intent to do harm. Or hell, maybe there's a couple in the parking lot having a fight that just blows up. And like, seriously, you absolutely never know. Or in this case, you could end up getting beat to death with your own golf clubs.
So I'll say this. Go ahead.
So please, seriously, keep calm and carry one, because that's one of the few things. It's like wearing a seatbelt every time you get in the car. Is it going to stop you from having accidents? No. Is it going to make it impossible for you to become injured or killed if you do have an accident? No. But it is the number one thing that you can do that gives you the best chance of survival every time you get in your car. Your gun is your seatbelt for life. Now, please, that's where I was going.
Like you said a minute ago, we weren't there. We don't know what happened. There could be factors. There could be complicating, mitigating factors. One of those complicating, mitigating factors for a lawfully armed bystander who could have intervened, and maybe saved this man's life may be as simple as because Boucher was right there on top of Hilton Beetle, beating him with the golf club. It's difficult to take a clean shot without hitting Hilton Beetle. But you know what? You can run at them with your weapon drawn and shouting, hey, stop, drop the weapon, drop the golf club, drop the golf club. Right? And that you may not even have to put rounds into the bad guy to solve the problem. Now, you know your local laws. In some states, that by itself can get you in trouble too. We mentioned briefly brandishing earlier, which is psychotic. There are in fact laws like the brandishing law, which serve to do nothing more than prevent the non-lethal use of a lawfully owned firearm from being employed to save lives by stopping a crime through the presentation of an intermediating threat. That said, we have another problem. We have another problem in modernity, in the zeitgeist today. Daniel Penny choked out a drugged out, psychotic homeless man that was attacking and threatening people on a subway.
The white guy.
Huh?
The prosecutor keeps referring to him as the white guy.
Oh, Daniel Penny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I don't mean to derail you.
He should lose his law license for that shit right there. But
yeah.
Keep in mind, this piece of shit that Daniel Penny choked out died hours after the incident. Right? Daniel Penny did not kill this man. This man died way later. But we live in a society, or in a lot of places, this event happened in Florida. I'm in Georgia. The laws are a little different here. The prosecutors are differently motivated here. But we do have a modern zeitgeist where in many places around this country, intervening to save lives, if you are not demographically acceptable, is a good way to get yourself in trouble too. So there is, it's the chilling effect. If enough people get canceled over using bad language, then everybody stops using the bad language. Well, same thing. If enough people get, crucified in the media and then sentenced to life in prison for the onerous crime of saving lives by employing necessary lethal force in a dangerous situation, then you'll see less people step up to do the right thing when the situation calls for it. And that may be part of what happened here is the witnesses, the bystanders were scared to death that if they get involved and save the man's life, then they could end up in prison too. That right there, that's a piece of culture that we all need to be working on fixing. If you do the right thing, then you don't get treated like a criminal.
It's part of why I adopted the attitude some years ago that when you say, well, it wasn't really wise for Kyle Rittenhouse to be there, I think that's actually playing into the shifting culture that you're actually talking about, because it wasn't that long ago where what Kyle Rittenhouse did was the expectation. Oh, your neighboring village is being burned down and you're a young man. Well, you go help. You know why? Because next time it might be your village that's being burned down, and you better pray the young men from that other village come help you, because the ravening hordes will steal all your women, and they'll do it. Yep. So,
and if the village is being burned down by ravening hordes, then I want you to show up with weapons. I want you to show up armed, even if what you're showing up to do is to join the bucket brigade and help put out the fires.
Yeah, right? that takes all kinds.
That's
please,
what you're there for. That's helpful, but be armed, because like you mentioned the situation with the Kenosha hat trick, and that's what was going on. He went to clean up graffiti, but we've seen the video. There were still sociopath, pedophile arsonists running rampant and burning down the city.
Yeah, it's never going to not be really darkly.
There aren't that many syllables in the word Democrat, but yes, there are.
It's never going to not be funny to me that somehow 3
Democrats, they were all kitty diddlers.
No, I don't think the one that went from a righty to a lefty was a kitty diddler. I know the first 2 were. No, but he was a felon who shouldn't have been in possession of a firearm. And somehow all that got ignored, which, if I'm being really honest with, I think is a victory in the larger sense. But still, he was a felon and he was armed, right? Which is hella illegal, right? Okay, just Gage. That was his name. Gage Groswitz. Righty.
Yeah.
Groskoitz, whatever. Righty, but now a lefty. Xander says that the cure to this is to lead a moral life, and he ends his paragraph with saying, "Learn to identify trouble spots and leave early." Yeah, look, if your spidey senses are tingling, if you feel like you need to leave, if you feel like you need to walk away, whatever you need to do that. Like just leave, just walk away. That if you've got a friend, so man, every time I hang out with this friend, we drink too much. Yeah. That's a thing. And I'm not even saying that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. But
in my experience, the best way to solve that problem is to make your friend who you drink too much with, just make him start paying for the booze.
That doesn't look. If Mario was here, he would tell you, sir, that will not. That will not stop the point is. The point is, he's right. Learn to identify the trouble spots and leave early. Like man, it's like that old joke. Doctor, every time I hold my arm up like this, it hurts. What do I do? And the doctor says, stop holding your arm up like that.
I was watching House the other day, and this guy comes in and says, I've got this. I don't know what's wrong, man. My arm hurts. Like when I touch it like this. Ow. And my leg hurts over here when ow.
I'm familiar with the episode. I love that show.
It cuts to Cuddy in the OR. It says, "Did somebody give the idiot with the broken finger to House?" Oh, and Gage Grosskreutz had been arrested for burglary, prowling, robbery, and an undisclosed domestic incident. Violent domestic incident. So, yeah, he was bad people. Oh, okay. So we can get in one more DGU. What do you think? Actually,
sure.
If you've got time, I'd really like to cover both of these articles, and I'm going to go ahead and link you the next one. I'll do this one. I'll put it in the right thread. So I'll cover this one, and then you do the next one. Woman shoots Uber driver in neck during road rage. How things went very wrong very quickly. Las Vegas. A fatal road rage incident unfolded on the Las Vegas Strip when an Uber driver was shot and killed, during a confrontation. According to Metro Police, the altercation occurred Monday afternoon near the Palazzo at the Venetian Resort. Officers arriving at the scene found the wounded party, a man in his 50s, lying in the road near his gray Jeep Cherokee. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police reports indicate the man, an Uber driver with 2 passengers, and a woman driving a silver Subaru WRX, became entangled in a road rage dispute over a quarter-mile stretch of road. When both vehicles stopped, the Uber driver exited his car, approached the woman's driver's side door, and allegedly banged on her window. The woman then shot him in the neck. Okay. There's more to the story. We'll get to it in a minute. Before we get to that, I want to take a quick peek at that. The Uber driver got out, banged on the window, and the woman shot him. I am going to go out on a limb here and say, before we get any more information, I suspect she gets off on self-defense, because not only do you have him as the aggressor as described by the report and the witnesses, but you've got a woman as the victim. And that's going to count for a lot in front of a jury. Even if she was completely dead wrong in whatever she did to piss him off, right? And I'm not even saying I assume that she pissed him off. It may have been that he pissed her off and she was road raging. But that last moment of the incident is him getting out of the car, knocking on the window, and then a woman shooting him. That's not gonna play well for the jury, guys. So authorities revealed the man had also drawn a firearm but collapsed before using it. Yep, she's free.
Well, she fled the scene.
Uh-oh. Now she might be in trouble. No, you know what? Fled the scene. That a competent lawyer could easily spin that as, there's no way that she knew he was an Uber driver. She could see that there are two more people in the vehicle after she shot the guy who came at her with a gun. She fled in fear for her life, not in order to escape justice. I think a competent attorney could argue that.
There's plenty of fucking road. Just pick a little piece of it and leave the rest of it to everyone else.
Agreed. So the woman fled the scene, but was later apprehended at her home nearby. The woman, identified as 24-year-old woman, but has not been charged as investigations continue. Clark County District Attorney's Office is evaluating whether her actions qualify as self-defense under Nevada law. The case has sparked conversations about road rage, firearm use, and self-defense laws. Drivers are reminded to prioritize de-escalation in heated situations, especially when armed. Yes, Alex, absolutely agreed. Being armed carries immense responsibility, as the decision to carry a firearm is not just about self-defense, but also about ensuring the safety of others. Owning or carrying a firearm requires an understanding of the gravity of its use, which should always be a last resort in any situation. Okay, this is just we've had enough of that pablum. Yeah, that's two road rage incidents this morning that we've covered. I bet if we went doom scrolling down Twitter or YouTube or any of them, Cameron, we could probably do a whole series on just evaluating road rage incidents. That might be entertaining, but road rage incidents are always stupid, right?
Yeah, like just get angry, flip up a bird, call them some racial epithets, and drive away, like any sane person would do.
Yeah, and I use the wrong racial epithets. I love to shout zipperhead out the window at black guys that cut me off in traffic. It makes me laugh and cools me down.
Steve's trying to re-trigger me. He's trying to get me angry all over again. No, but you're correct. All road and the point at which you get out of the car, like, even if everything that's happened up to that point you were not in the wrong for, once you get out of the car, especially if you're the first person to get out of the car, you are now in the wrong. You are escalating the situation. I mean, pretty universally. Like, please, I'm begging you, don't get out of your car and come walking up to mine. I'm going to assume you've got some ill fucking intent.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's, and we call it road rage. It is a really specific thing, and some people seem to be more prone to it than others. But still, like, please, just stay in your car. Just stay in your car.
And here's another little something. I just dropped the link in the thread in the chat there. I'll click on that and get you a dash cam. Doesn't have to be this one, but click on this one. This one's $123 for a high quality dash cam. I got a dash cam in my truck and in the van. And it's for, like earlier this year, the wife hit a deer. We all got a chuckle out of watching the video from that dash cam footage. But early last year, I was out working and somebody hit me, and I called the cops. This guy's begging with because he's got 2 kids with him, and they were like 5 and 3, and neither of them was in a booster seat or a car seat. And he's like, "Oh man, you can't call the cops. I'm gonna get in trouble." And I was like, "No, I mean, brother, you caused an accident. We got a problem here." And this dude actually left, went home to drop his kids off, and then came back and fed the cops some kind of bullshit lie. And of course, I'm just like, hey, officers, here's what happened. I'm sitting at the red light, and this guy hit me. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. And this was a conversation I had with the officers when they first got there. Well, where's the other guy? He said he had to run home for something. And the cop looks at me and says, "You can't just flee the scene of bro, I'm here. I don't know what you want. Did you want me to draw a gun and hold him here for you? I mean, no dice, son." But, and he asked me, "Well, what happened?" And I told him basically what happened. And he said, "Can you remember anything else?" And I said, "No, I mean, that's basically it. You want to watch the video? Let me pull out my laptop and I'll show you what happened from 3 camera angles, because that's like I said, with a good dash cam, you've got multiple cameras on it so that you can see.
Yeah,
so
look,
you can see multiple directions. And that, okay, so if you've got a road rage incident going on where somebody's cut you off, or like the closest thing I can think to justifiable is somebody hits you, your car's still running, and they try to drive away, and you follow them to get the license plate. I saw a video like that the other day. The guy follows this guy that hit him, follows him for like 5 miles. And right, these are citizen civilians. Neither of them's a cop. They end up in a high-speed chase weaving through traffic. That's stupid. If you got the dash cam, you got the license plate number, you call the cops, here's what happened. Right? And in the one that I was just referencing, the video I watched the other day, the one car rear ends the other one, pulls around, drives off. They do the high-speed chase, and the asshole that rear-ended the first guy and tried to do the hit and run drives his car off the road and into one of those big electric transformer boxes and blows his shit up. Well, I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But the guy that got rear-ended, there was no good reason for him to chase that dude. So buy the dash cam. That's your safety brief for this week. Get a dash cam.
Okay, got the safety brief early, or right on time.
Well,
the safety brief
article. You want to do one more?
The safety brief arrived precisely when it intended to. Okay. Federal judge. Oh boy, here we go. Federal judge denies gun right claims of illegal immigrant with 170 firearms. Should have started with this one. Okay. Orient, Ohio. A federal judge has denied the dismissal of a firearm possession charge against Carlos Serrano Restrepo, an undocumented immigrant living in Orient, Ohio. Serrano Restrepo, who has been in the United States illegally for nearly 2 decades, was arrested in early 2024 and later indicted for unlawfully possessing firearms as an alien. Side note, if you have a hyphenated last name, I hate you. Pick one, move on. One last name is enough for 99% of us. You're not special because you put a dash in the middle of your name. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco...
Real quick. By the end of the first paragraph, federal judge has denied the dismissal of firearms possession charge against Carlos, blah, 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 indicted on lawfully possession, living in the United States illegally for 2... As soon as you said undocumented, deport him. That's it. Stop there. He's an illegal alien. I don't care if he's guilty of the gun charge. Throw him the fuck out of my country. He doesn't belong here.
the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives began investigating Serrano Restrepo after he purchased at least 22 firearms and falsely claimed U.S. citizenship on the required federal forms. A search of his residence revealed a significant arsenal, including 170 firearms, tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition, a 50 cal Barrett. Firearms were stored in gun safes and mounted on walls, and Serrano Restrepo claimed that some were intended for self-defense. Some
were intended for self-defense. Yeah, man, like my little 9mm Beretta that I wear on my hip, that's for self-defense, for when I'm not actively engaging, targets and shit, and I set my rifle down to have a cup of coffee, somebody sneak up on me, that's for active attacking. That's a good gun. But this is just in case.
Yeah, and then that one over here, that one's for spiders, and yeah. Okay. In court, Serrano Restrepo argued that the Second Amendment protected his right to bear arms despite his immigration status. However, the federal judge ruled otherwise, stating that disarming individuals unlawfully in the U.S. aligns with the country's longstanding firearm regulations. The court emphasized that the right to bear arms in America is historically tied to citizens and those who swear allegiance through naturalization. Serrano Restrepo, who owns a fire and flood damage remediation business, moved to Ohio in 2022 from Arizona. He last entered the country without authorization in 2008. The judge's decision reaffirms the legal precedent restricting firearm ownership for individuals not legally residing in the U.S. And, this is tough. Okay. He's been in the country illegally for decades, and we know this. And yeah, look, just get thrown out, whatever. But, and I even understand why what Americans think of as rights only apply to Americans. You have to be an American to enjoy the protections of the American system. I really get all that, but there is something in this that really, really, really bothers me. It's and it's that whole life, liberty, pursuit of happiness thing. I think, we know that this guy was not a violent problem. He owned thousands of rounds of ammunition. If he wanted to be a violent problem, he would have been a violent problem. Now, criminal, yes. And lying on federal documents, yeah. Saying that he is, saying that he's an American citizen. And it's funny. If I want to participate in a federal process, all I have to do is lie on the form and I can get away with it? Huh. I'm sure that only applies to buying guns, though, right? Like, it's not like you can lie on your voter registration form or anything, right?
Yeah. We're not deporting anybody for illegally acquiring food stamps while also being illegal aliens. And that is, in fact, not part of the problem. It is the problem.
But the thing is, if you really believe rights are natural, and you believe that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness are ascendant, the fact that he is an illegal immigrant, criminal alien, hostile foreign invader, pick your term, and should be deported because he violated the laws of this country. He still has the right to life. Like, he absolutely has the right to life. If the biggest piece of shit in your society doesn't have the right to life, then none of you really have the right to life. This is the fact that the Second Amendment got dragged into this, and well, now we've reaffirmed the long-standing traditions of this country with restricting gun ownership for some people that are inside the country. Yeah. Yeah, I know we reaffirmed that fact, and that's terrible. We don't need to reaffirm the fact that sometimes we say it's okay to restrict people's firearms in this country. So there's I'm not saying this is a good dude. I'm just saying that, like, if I pull back and I really try and look at the whole thing and really try and compare it to what I think of as a right, a natural right, a God-given right, and I try and also filter that through how much I detest firearm laws in general. I'm gonna have to actually say that this one is an L. Like, this is a loss. Like, once again we have reaffirmed that some gun control is okay. And nope, fuck you. The gun control is learning how to hold your weapon. That's gun control. What the government does is so there. I'm done.
So this is not a question of Second Amendment rights here. And you said it doesn't matter what you call them, undocumented alien, hostile foreign invaders. It does matter what you call them, and here's why. They are hostile foreign invaders. They are often called undocumented workers, illegal aliens, or more recently, they've been being referred to as newcomers. But here's the fact. This is a person, and this also speaks to the 14th Amendment issue of birthright citizenship that Donald Trump is working on right now. That language, the thing that means that just dropping an anchor baby doesn't make that anchor baby a citizen, the language and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is extraordinarily important, because the foundational principle of rights and liberty being possessed by a moral and religious people presupposes that people is at least homogenous in the sharing of the mutual self-interest. When you're talking about hostile foreign invaders, you're not talking about someone who has committed a mere crime. You're talking about the active rogue elements of a hostile foreign nation conducting an act of war against the interest of your national security. This guy is an enemy combatant. That he has survived in this mechanism of infiltration for 20 years in this country is a failure of our national security apparatus. And that he is not the only one is an indictment of the entire structure of that apparatus. Deportation is the least of what should have happened to this guy. He is a hostile foreign invader.
See, I don't know that
enemy combatant.
See, I don't agree with that. I didn't realize we were going to go sideways here, but I don't think calling him a hostile foreign invader is accurate. Like, the guy owns a small business. Like, clearly, I mean, again, like, he possessed the firearm to be extremely hostile and was not. And your dad pointed out in the chat that when we arrest illegal immigrants, they're still afforded certain protections under the law.
Jack Barsky spent 20 years running business in America.
I'm not saying that there are not people that could be hostile foreign invaders that also run businesses. I'm not saying that they're mutually exclusive, but on average, the people that cross the border, not all of them, but on average, the people that cross the border illegally are doing it for economic reasons, not because they have any ill intent toward America. And this guy, like, he'd been here for decades. It said it right there in the article. Like saying that he's a hostile foreign invader. Bro, he whipped out the Second Amendment at court. Like, no, you can't hit me with these charges. I've got the Second Amendment protected me. That actually sounds like somebody that, culturally speaking, you and I would have a lot in common with this guy.
he might sound like that, but I mean, of course he went to the Second Amendment. He went to the most obvious legal defense. You'll have we've got Al Qaeda and Taliban agents in Gitmo who are making arguments against the raids on their homes in Afghanistan based on a loose interpretation of the Fourth Amendment, trying to defend themselves against what will likely end in a life sentence or a death penalty. That a criminal or an enemy combatant is versed in the use of U.S. law is by no means a defense of his activities.
I'm not saying that it's a defense of his activities. I'm saying that if we look at things in the realm of, Bertrand Russell emotive conjugation, when you call somebody a hostile invader, there's the technical definition, and then of course there's the emotional definition. And you could make an argument that this guy meets the technical definition of hostile foreign invader. I don't even know that I'd agree with that, but let me just grant it to you, just to make the point that in the emotive sense of the word, that I don't think this guy is such. Like, illegal, should be deported, broke our laws, lied on federal forms, sure. But an enemy combatant? Like, no. Like, because of course what follows is all 20 million people, or however, whatever the real number is, that have illegally crossed the border, they're all enemy combatants? Well,
yes.
Well, no, they're not.
What way?
The way that they're not.
Okay. How are they not enemy combatants? What are they doing that is different than the military tactics of any other nation that would use an infiltration strategy or an economic combat strategy, a media incursion strategy? They are absolutely doing all of the things that we do to other countries when we are conducting active war against them.
They're doing all the same stuff, but they're the amount of power that we project.
No, just because they're not as good at it doesn't mean they're doing less of it. It doesn't mean they're not doing it.
So kicking indoors in Iraq is the same thing as washing dishes at Chili's? Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
No, but it is the same thing as what Trinidad Aragua is doing, taking over buildings and running them.
I'm not talking about Trinidad Aragua. Fuck those guys.
No, yes, you are. Because you're
no, saying, I don't know. Okay.
No, Cameron, stop. You made a comparison, and your comparison presupposes that the only thing U.S. soldiers do in foreign countries is kick indoors and shoot bad guys. And then you compare that to somebody washing dishes at Chili's as if that's the only thing that hostile foreign invaders do. There's a shitload of stuff that U.S. soldiers do in foreign countries that most soldiers that go down range never fire a weapon. Many of them are just cooks, etc. Many of them are just barbers, etc. And they are there as part of that coordinated effort. And as many of for as many of us that actually go and pull triggers and kick doors and kill bad guys, you've got Trinidad Aragua. That's a kinetic force. That's a kinetic entity that's doing violence, right? So your comparison was an absolute tautology when the total op tempo of the hostile foreign invasion is not tautological in its nature.
Look, okay, fine. Maybe it's a bad comparison. I don't think so. I was shorthanding the way people look at things. Again, I pointed out from the beginning that if you look at things in terms of Russell conjugation, when you say hostile foreign invader, you've got, of course, both sides of that definition that apply. And the vast majority of the people that come across that border, they're not here to invade. They're here to send money back home. They're here, in fact, trying to get away from the very types of people that would take over an apartment complex like some little Mexican mafia.
Economic destabilization is absolutely a valid combat tactic.
but they're not trying to destabilize our currency. That works against exactly what they're coming here for. They're not here to do that. They're here to make money, not destroy it. Look, I really didn't think when I said what I said in the very beginning about call him whatever you want. What I meant was in terms of the Second Amendment, in terms of your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That this was a loss for the Second Amendment because we had another gun law get reaffirmed by a judge. That's what I was going for. I didn't realize we were going to spend 10 minutes talking about the nature of the people that come across the southern border and what it really means. But that's what I was trying to go for, was that this is a loss because some judge said, yeah, sometimes gun control is okay.
I can't, as much as I am a 2A absolutist, I can't get behind, like I can get with you on felons getting their gun rights restored. I can't get behind you on, I can't get behind you on rearming the POWs after you've taken prisoners.
Sometimes when you take what I say and you recast it, like that's just, when did I say rearm a POW?
This guy's been arrested for crimes. He's in custody currently.
Right.
Prior to that, he was arrested for crimes.
Yes. I see. I see. He's an enemy combatant. See, you and I don't agree that he's an enemy combatant. That's why I don't agree that I'm saying it's okay to rearm a POW.
Oh, real quick, Alex, you're doing something similar to what Cameron's accusing me of doing. I never said anything about overstaying visas. I'm talking specifically about people who come across the border illegally to begin with. Coming in illegally and then fucking up your paperwork because you weren't paying attention to a deadline is a different matter, especially if you came in legally to begin with and then corrected the issue when it came up. But we're talking specifically about the criminal aliens that are crossing the border and never had a legal status, right? And well, okay, I say and never had a legal status, but let me be fair. The Haitians in Ohio, they attained a legal status after the fact in a incredibly dubious mechanism. So there's a little bit of bleed there, but you're talking about something entirely different, Alex. As far as the hostile foreign invader thing, you're talking about the individual motivations of the people that are committing the crimes and causing the economic harm that they're causing. I've worked with a lot of soldiers, Cameron, who were not the brightest. They were great at the little job they did, but it was not a difficult job. And I promise you, they knew how to do the job they had to do and had no clear understanding of what the overall strategy was. So when you're talking about these hostile foreign invaders, they're essentially being conscripted into the war conduct that they're conducting by the guys running these NGOs. The fact that the things that they do have a deleterious effect that individually they do not understand does not change the fact that they were sent here, they were recruited to come here by an organization that had the explicit intent of causing that deleterious effect. So them sending money back, expatriating U.S. currency, devaluing the dollar, most of them are doing what they're doing in large part precisely because they do not have the intellectual capacity or economic literacy to understand the deleterious effect that they're having. In fact, the fact that they can't understand the harm that they're causing is one of the key factors that was looked for when they were recruited to be sent in to conduct the war that they're conducting.
Look, when a hungry man steals bread, he doesn't do it because he's a thief. He does it because he's hungry. You are assigning an additional layer of motive to the bread thief.
If we were talking about a single man going into a market and sneaking a loaf of bread, that'd be one thing. What we're talking about is a horde being directed into the market.
The horde is hungry. Like, look, I realize that we're not going to agree. I think hostile foreign invader is too extreme a term and not entirely accurate, and has the added disadvantage of turning off people that could be persuaded to understand the issue. And I realize we're just not going to agree on that. I didn't mean to go, like I said, I didn't mean to go this far sideways. I just wanted to say that anytime you give a judge an excuse to say sometimes gun control is a good thing, that's a loss. That's all I was trying to get out of that. But instead, we've now gotten 15 minutes of beating each other up with mental stones and whatnot.
I've enjoyed it immensely. I enjoy these debates, these conversations. Okay, it is Friday. We're going into the weekend. You got anything else you want to close on, Cameron? We'll go ahead and wrap it up there. What do you say?
No, we're an hour in, and that's good for me.
All
go
right,
dogs.
Yeah, go dogs. Y'all be safe out there. Cameron, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Or yeah. Anyway, be safe out there, brother. I'm gonna kick you off and do the closeout. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, that's our show. Go check out the link that I posted. In fact, I'll drop that link again for the I'll drop that link again for the dash cams. That's a great way to make sure that you're doing something other than losing your mind and getting into a road rage incident if it comes up. So go get your dash cam. Makes a great Christmas present. Thanks for watching today. The link is in the description for the Buy Me a Coffee. And we love you, and we will see you on Monday.